Hello dear students, welcome to this analysis of the IPM aptitude test or IPMAT which was conducted by IIM Rohtak on 18th May 2024. So, the IPM aptitude test, as you all know, is conducted by IIM Rohtak for admissions into their integrated program in management. Integrated program in management is a 5-year program for which students who have finished their 12th standard can apply. So, it is an integrated program means that it includes graduation as well as post-graduation in management. Okay. So, this test is for a duration of 120 minutes, 2 hours. The types of questions include multiple choice. Most of the questions are multiple choice questions, but there are a few questions which require short answers also. You get 4 marks for every correct answer, but there is negative marking also, which means that accuracy becomes very, very important. Okay, you get 1 negative mark for every incorrect answer, and you are not allowed to use calculators. There is no on-screen calculator that is provided. Okay. Now, what are the testing areas here? There are 3 testing areas, that is quantitative ability, mathematics, verbal ability, English, and logical reasoning. Now, all the sections have an equal number of questions and equal weightage. So, there are 40 questions in each section. So, we saw that you get 4 marks for the right answer, right? So, 160 marks for each section, okay? And duration is 40 minutes for each section. So, the total is 120 minutes and you have 120 questions. So, the total marks is 480. Okay, fine. Now, let us get into a detailed analysis of this year's IPMAT. Yeah. Overall, okay, quantitative aptitude, that is the first section. Okay, so let us look at each section first and then we will do the overall analysis. Yeah. So, in the quantitative aptitude section, there were no surprises really. It was very similar to the previous editions of IPMAT. Let's take a look at the topics. There were 3 questions on averages and mixtures, 5 questions on ERPV, 2 questions only on functions. Okay. Similarly, geometry and mensuration, there were only 3 questions. Then miscellaneous, these are questions that cannot be really categorized under any of these topics. Okay, so there were 2 such questions. 4 questions were there on numbers. Okay, then permutation and combination, there were 3 questions. 1 question on percentages, but 3 questions on percentage profit and loss. Okay, then there were 2 questions on probability, 3 questions on quadratic equations, 4 questions on simple interest, compound interest, 3 on time and distance, and 2 questions on time and work. So, what can we see here? All these are topics that students have studied in their years up to 10th standard, right? And the difficulty level of these questions were also at a 10th standard level or below. Okay, so it was a fairly easy section. Some questions were of a moderate difficulty level, but a student who had seriously prepared for the exam, who had revised their portions up to 10th standard and taken the mocks offered by our institute would definitely be able to do well in this section. Okay. as I said earlier, the distribution of questions across topics was more or less similar to that of last year. The only difference is trigonometry, which was seen last year. That is, last year there were questions on trigonometry, but this year there were no questions on trigonometry. Yeah. So overall, it was a very doable, easy section. Now, let us move on to the next section, that is logical reasoning. Okay, so here you can see that more or less the questions were evenly distributed across all the topics. Okay, and you can see the long list of topics here. These are all the topics that are taught under logical reasoning, right? In our institute, these are exactly the topics we cover under logical reasoning, and you can see that there were questions from all these topics. Okay, so 2 questions each based on analogies. Okay, analogies is when you are given 2 words with a relationship. You have to identify the relationship and then you have to pick the option that exhibits the same kind of relationship, or there may be some other question based on this pair of words. Okay, then blood relations, calendars, clocks, coding, decoding, that is basically codes, cubes, data sufficiency. So there were 2 questions each on all these topics. Oh, there were 2 DI sets, okay, data interpretation sets, with a total of 7 questions. So there were 7 DI questions. Then there were 2 questions on puzzles, quant-based reasoning questions, numerical reasoning. There were 2 questions. Then there were 3 questions based on seating arrangement. Okay. Then series, 2 questions on series. Then statement conclusions and strong and weak arguments. I'll come to this in a bit, okay, immediately. And there were 3 questions on syllogisms. Syllogisms is also a topic that is covered in all the logical reasoning classes. Now, why did I say I'll come back to these 2 question types? Because conclusions and strong and weak arguments are typically a part of critical reasoning. Critical reasoning is more towards the verbal reasoning side. Okay, so again, critical reasoning is an integral part of our curriculum. Yeah, so all our mock tests, our study materials, our handouts, everything features critical reasoning questions. Now, conclusions is basically you are given a statement or some statements and then you have to decide which of the conclusions given as options can be drawn from that statement or statements. Okay, so you have to base it on a proper understanding of the given statement and you cannot use your own perspective or imagination. Similarly, strong and weak arguments, that is, a statement would be given and then you would be given a couple of arguments. You have to decide which one of them is a strong argument and which one is a weak argument. Okay, so a strong argument is one that adds more weight to the given argument or the given statement, right? And a weak argument is one which goes in the opposite direction. So if you are able to understand the tone of the given statement properly, then it is very easy to understand what is a strong argument. Strong argument has to carry some weight. It has to add some weight to the given statement. And a weak argument normally has some flaws in it. It may be a flawed assumption, it may be based on some fallacy, or it is generally, it weakens the given statement or goes in the opposite direction. So these questions here, that is 3 plus 2, these 5 questions were based on critical reasoning and all the other questions were based on the typical logical reasoning subjects, topics. Okay, now while these questions were quite easy, they were also time consuming. As you can see, there were 2 DI sets, and DI sets do take time. Now you saw that the whole exam is for 120 minutes and there are 120 questions, okay? So time management becomes very, very crucial in this exam, and that would have been specifically felt today in this particular section, in the DILR section. It was quite tricky managing the time. So if you had taken enough mock tests, right, and if you had enough practice with these questions, then you would definitely be able to do well in this section. Now let us look at the third section, that is verbal ability. So in verbal ability, you had 4 questions on idioms and phrases, okay? Then you had 4 para formation questions. So para formation is also known as para jumble. This is the question type where you are given a few sentences and you have to arrange them in the most logical order. You have to make a sequence or a paragraph from these sentences. Okay, then there were also odd man out questions. Okay, odd man out questions, why have we called them para formation? Because the instructions for this question type say that you have to identify from the given sentences the sentence that does not logically fit into a para. Okay, it is quite different from your school level odd man out. In school, we are used to doing odd man out where you just pick the odd man, right? Like lion, tiger, bear, penguin. So penguin is the obvious odd one. Here, that is not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to arrange the sentences in the right sequence and then identify the sentence that does not fit into this paragraph. But the answer will be only the sentence number of the odd man. Okay, you only need to write the number of the odd sentence as the answer. So that is odd man out. Okay, and I explained this in detail just in case somebody does not know what it means. Then reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is an integral part of almost every management entrance exam. So here we had 2 passages with 4 questions each. So a total of 8 questions, not very difficult. Okay. Then sentence correction. Sentence correction is an exercise in grammar. Okay, so you have to identify grammatical errors and find the correct version of sentences. Then spelling. Okay, there were 3 questions on spellings. Okay, so you have to find the version of a word that is rightly spelled, or you have to identify spelling errors. Okay, here also you had a couple of critical reasoning questions, the same strong and weak arguments which we saw in logical reasoning also appeared here. Okay, different questions of course, but the same question type. Then you had 3 different question types on vocabulary. Okay, 5 fill in the blanks questions. You had to choose the right word to fit into a blank. Then 4 questions on synonyms and antonyms and 3 questions on word replacement, where you have to find the right word to substitute a given word in a sentence or a passage. Okay, so you have, as you can see, 12 questions here on vocabulary plus another 3 questions on spellings, which is also requires a knowledge of words, right? So 15 questions there. Idioms and phrases also is related to this. So overall, you can say vocabulary plus idioms and phrases, you have around 19 questions. Okay, then 4 questions on grammar. Okay, and para-based questions, you have 7 questions, and reading comprehension, 8 questions. So vocabulary is the biggest question category here that has been tested. Yeah. So again, this was a fairly easy section. Okay, no surprises at all, only the usual question types. IPM, we all know that vocabulary is tested heavily. So, we have been giving you a lot of practice in vocabulary. So, absolutely no surprises. And any student who practiced this section well, in fact, students who took our mocks regularly would feel that this was just another mock, because many of the questions are ones that we have dealt with already in our tests. Okay, so now we have looked at all the three sections. If you look at the overall paper, it was very similar to the previous papers, okay, very similar to last year's paper. In terms of the pattern, there were absolutely no changes, and the difficulty level was also comparable. Okay, now we will discuss the cutoffs in a little detail now, okay, in the next slides. So, since the overall difficulty level and pattern was the same, we are expecting the cutoffs also to be similar to that of last year. But we never know. Cutoffs is always a relative concept, because, you know, we saw this trend that earlier, when the number of calls that were given by IIM Rohtak was about 1,000. Calls refers to the number of students who are called for the next stage of the process. The next stage would be an interview. Okay, so students, the number of calls that were given earlier was around 1,000. But then they cut the number of calls to around 700. And then because of that, the cutoff came up. The cutoff became higher. Okay, so this year, if they increase the number of calls, then the cutoff could come down. Yeah, so other than that, there was nothing unpredictable about this paper. Okay, so all the best with the cutoffs. Let us take a look at the cutoffs now. This is based on last year's cutoffs. Okay, so as we said, it might change slightly this year. But if we look at last year, okay, cutoff for getting an interview call was 409 marks in the general category, 409 out of 480. Okay, for the candidates with EWS reservation, it was 376. For those with NCOBC reservation, it was 349. For SC and ST categories, it was 274 and 201 respectively. Okay, then for the differently abled persons, in the general category, it was 238. For the NCOBC and SC and ST categories, people who were differently abled people in all these categories, the cutoff was 91. Okay. Now, what we have next is a breakup of candidates who were called from each of these categories. The total number of candidates from each of these categories who were called for the next stage of selection. Okay, so you can see in the general category, 119 female students and 204 male students got the calls. So a total of 323 students. In the EWS category, there were a total of 68, that is 16 females and 52 males. In the NCOBC category, there were 168 students, 117 males and 51 females. In the SC category, you had 27 females and 72 males, that is a total of 99 calls. In the ST category, it was 19 and 28, adding up to 47. Now, in the persons with that is differently abled persons category, okay, in the general category, there were 5 females and 11 males, a total of 16. Then 3 females and 5 males, a total of 8 in the NCOBC differently abled persons category. In the SC category, there was only one student who was a male, and in the ST persons with differently abled persons category, there was one candidate who was a female. Okay, so a total of 731 students were called to the next stage. Okay, so that is what we have depicted on this slide also. This is the total number of calls per category, and overall 731 calls were given. Okay, so that is the analysis of this year's IPMAT for IIM Rohtak. Wish you all the best. Thank you.